Incremental greetings. Today I want to share with you how you can customize your search. You may have noticed that when you go to search, you have different options: elements, in text, an article, selection, web. Let's see, just pleasurable. And you have these options, right? Well, you may have seen that you have one option to define your own tools. And here I just will show you one example that may be useful. So, long story short, what I recommend is to delete the ones you're not actually using and to add the websites you actually want to use. So the syntax is very easy. You may notice here the one ampersand. This is the shortcut. If you noticed, if we go again, you see that in Wikipedia it's the W. So if I press W on my keyboard, I go straight away. So I can use the shortcut. So I will put one example of Logman. That's a real example I am using with my collection. Now I'm using an alt backup. So we use ampersand with the letter we want to use. In this case will be the L. I think it's not used. Then comma, space, then the URL. Let's go there. In Internet Explorer I have the usual resources I'm using. So instead of doing that, Word Hippo, Urban Dig, American Heritage, Dictionary.com, Merriam, and so on, I could use this inside SuperMemo. So now let's say example, I only want the URL. And now I change the example for this. The text with the percent character. That's all I need. Now save the file. And the change is already there. I don't even need to restart. So if I select pleasurable, let's say I want to see the phonetic reading online. So I press Ctrl F3, OK, and now L. It goes to Logman. In this case, it's opening, and here it is, the phonetic reading. That will be useful, right? And we can define as much as you want. That's actually one of the pages I use for thumbnails for this very same channel. An example. Here it is. Oh shoot! By default, it's going to the Spanish version. Okay, nothing to worry about. So now let's see, the P it's not used, I think. Okay, so ampersand pixabay. I will delete the S, the subdomain for Spanish. I don't want it. And instead of example, the text. And just in case, I will leave this. Save that. And now let's see what happens with pleasurable. Once again, Ctrl F3, and now Pixabay with P. Oh, the P was already used. I didn't notice. It's SuperMemopedia. So what will happen if I press P again? It will then not go too long to Pixabay. So that's the limitation. So now I have to really use the mouse. What I will do is change the P for the X that it's not used next time. So it's as easy as going here and putting the ampersand just before the X. Now let me cancel. Once again, Ctrl F3. Okay. Now let's say with X. And here you go, Pixabay. And it opens. And in my case, it opens in Chrome, which is my default browser now. And on top of that, I have the English, not the Spanish user interface. Good to know, right? And let's say how you delete something. For instance, news. I'm not interested in news from Google. I just delete this and save. So next time I use Ctrl F3, I won't have that option. But oh, how come now there's nothing there, it's empty, but I still have the check box. That is because I have left a space, an empty line. So instead of an empty line, just delete the entire thing. Obviously I'm doing this on purpose so I can show all of the issues you could have. So if we go again, now I don't have the empty checkbox. And finally, let's see that I delete most of the stuff, or whatever, for whatever reason I want to restore the defaults. You can actually do that. So if I click here, I will lose the Logman and the Pixabay, and I will get back the news. And here it is. They are gone, and the news is there. And you may think, oh, this is so many windows, right? This is not useful. Well, once you know what to do, it's pretty easy. So let's say now that I want Pleasurable, to search Pleasurable on Google. So will be Control F3, Enter, G, Enter. And on top of that, you could also create an AutoHotkey script. So I could say, for instance, Control Shift Alt G is to look the selected text in Google. Which actually, if you are using AutoHotkey script, you could bypass the SuperMemos and open straight away your browser with a given URL.